Welcome back to my channel. It's day 7 of NaNoWriMo, and I did some calculations today. It's day 98 of me writing this novel. So for me, it's kind of a crazy idea to think that it's been going this long. This is the first project that I've invested that amount of time in, so it's kind of a big deal. I'm thinking about maybe doing some sort of some kind of celebration, or at least something different in the video for the 100th day, but I'm not sure. So we'll wait and see on that. Overall, my day was kind of busy. I had to do a lot of work outside, and I decided to make a pretty big lunch so that I would have food to sort of span out over a course of days rather than having to try to worry about cooking something every day. So I did that. Altogether that took up a lot of time, and I decided on a whim to call my brother and see how he was doing. So I got to talk to him for a while, and that was really nice. He and I are a lot alike in some ways, and in some ways not. But we tend to have really good conversations with each other. So we talked about writing and things like the hero's journey, and I was trying to tell him that, with this novel that I'm doing, I'm going way off the script. So we got into it about, different books that we had read that we liked versus not in an arguing sense, just exchanging ideas. But it's nice because there's a lot of give and take between us that way, so it's beneficial, to say the least. A part of that I wanted to get into in this video. To start with, he had mentioned to me that I should share some of my struggles that I've gone through so far with writing my novel. And so I'm going to get into a little bit of that. It just so happens that some of that occurred today. It was around 7 when I started to write, and I had not planned out my scene. So when I sat down, I kind of went for a little bit, but I didn't know where I was going. And so the writing was hard to start, and it was slow. By 9:30, I hadn't written a whole lot. I hadn't gotten up and done anything else, but I started feeling tired, so I ended up falling asleep. And I slept for an hour, which is an hour that I lost for the work. And so I was disappointed about that when I woke up. When I woke up, I was still in that same headspace of, I'm not sure what scene is going to happen next or what these characters are going to do. So it still felt like I was kind of fumbling through it. So eventually, I was like, well, I'm going to do something else. I don't want to get too distracted, but I've got to get away from the keyboard and just kind of breathe. And because I was starting to feel pressure, like I knew I needed to write and I wanted to write, but I just couldn't get into that zone. So I walked away from the keyboard, and like I had said, I cooked a really big meal earlier. So there were pots and pans and all sorts of dishes that needed to be washed. So I just went in the kitchen and started washing. And I don't know, about 15 minutes into that process of washing, the idea came to me of what the scene was going to be, what I needed to write. And it was beautiful. Granted, it was conversation. Usually that's how a lot of those ideas start in my head. It's dialogue between two characters or a little moment in time. But it just felt really good because one moment I'm there at the sink washing, and the next moment, it's there and it's real. And so I was super happy about that. There was another part that I wanted to include about this, and it should have been there before that, so I don't know how I got that mixed up, but see if I can resurrect it. Yeah, here we go. So before I had the moment I was telling you about I had another idea for the scene that I was going to write, and it just came into my head. I think that it came from that pressure of knowing that I wanted to write something, and so it's like that creative subconscious part of my brain said, here you go, here's something. And when it occurred, I mean, I knew it and I could see it clearly. So I'm just going to read a little thing of what happened. The idea that is not going in the story, but this is what came to me. Some context for this scene. Two of my characters had went to a pet store. And they went and bought a kitten. And there was an elderly man who worked inside the store. He was like the clerk or whatever. And so he was helping them out. And so in this idea that came to me, the two characters went back outside. You know, it's late at night, the store's closed down, there are no other shoppers in the parking lot. So they go back to their car and, you know, they're getting ready to leave, but it won't start. So they're standing there for a little bit, you know, trying to figure out what it is, what's going on. And the old man comes out, you know, because he's closed down the store, he's getting ready to go home too. And he's looking at their car, he's going to help them, but like in the scene, over here is the building, and this creature sort of like rises up over the little pet shop or whatever. And in my head, like I had this idea of it having, you know, dark wings and, you know, like red eyes or something. And this scene was so realistic in my mind, like there were so many details. Fishing rods in the back of this old man's truck, and the fact that he kept a handgun in the glove compartment, like there were all these moments. And it was very powerful. But at the same time, there was this other intuition that was like, this is junk. I mean, not necessarily junk, but it's not right for my story. It's not where my story was going for that moment, and I knew it was false. So I just want to touch on the fact that I think sometimes it's really hard to discern between those kinds of ideas, which might be cool, but don't exactly fit what you're trying to do, and the peace that you really need. So, sorry that was a long-winded rant, but I just thought that was really important. I think sometimes people overplot, you know, like they try to throw in all of these little seeds that's going to make their story interesting or cool or exciting or whatever. I mean, if that's what you want for your story, that's great, and go for it. You know, maybe you'll write a thriller and it'll be awesome. For me, I don't want that. You know, like that's not the direction I'm going in. There will be some action, some conflict and stuff going on in my work, but I haven't gotten to that point yet. And I think another part of it for me, like I said, is that I've been writing this for months now, so it seems like a really long process. You know, it's like I've been writing backstory and things about these characters, and I'm really getting to know them, and the story is moving at the pace that I want it to move in, but still and yet there's not a ton of action in it. So I think that's another reason why some of those ideas are coming to me, because there's a subconscious part that wants some kind of crazy, you know, events to occur. So I don't know, that's my rant for that. As I usually say, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new, subscribe to the channel. Therein, I will probably try to do something different on the 100th day, so you can kind of look for that if you're a subscriber. If you're interested, leave me a comment down below and let me know what difficulties you have faced with your writing, whether it's writer's block or, you know, whatever the case may be. It would just be cool to see and to hear the difficulties that someone else has gone through with their work. Also, if you're a quote-unquote a rebel like me and you started your story before NaNoWriMo, leave me a comment and let me know how long you've been writing, or, you know, your word count and more about your journey as far as that's concerned. So yeah, this video is kind of long, and I had some ideas that I had to put out there. But I hope all of you are well. I hope your stories are, you know, progressing. I hope that you didn't have a moment like I did today where you face the screen and you're like, oh shit, you know, what's gonna happen? I would say if that happens, you know, go and do something else. exercise or clean or take a walk, I would say don't sit down and watch Netflix or YouTube or whatever, because the ideas that you want for your story or your scene to come to you, like, I don't think those are going to come as easily if your mind is engaged somewhere else. You know, if you're trying to process media or another story or something like that. I mean, maybe you could listen to music if it inspires you and you have, you know, that creative vision from that, but definitely I would say don't give up and don't let that stop you from doing the work. You know, just try something else, and believe in yourself. I'm done talking now, I think. So, there again. I hope you're well, and I hope you have a good night.